Hey y'all, what's up? It's your girl Joy back with another video. So this video is a follow-up to the I am not okay video that I posted a few days ago. Today I have my dad.
Yeah, hi, I'm Lonnie. I'm the guy that was the subject of a lot of the last video. I figured I'd come dressed appropriately since it was about me moving to Washington, so wanted to wear a Washington sweatshirt.
The purpose of this is because my video was only like 30 minutes long, which is already long enough. Obviously, because that video was not scripted and there's a time limit, there's things that either I forgot to mention or cut off because of time. And in this video, you get to hear more of the perspective of my dad.
Joy did previously mention that she wanted to say something. Needless to say, when I watched the video the other day, I was surprised, and I'll be honest, I was pretty upset.
He was. I was scared to come home.
Yeah, I was pretty upset, and when I watched it, and I didn't get to talk to Joy about it the next day, but 2 days later, I was able to talk to her about it. I felt after the video, like I said, there were some things she left out. I thought that, to be honest, I thought that, some of it was kind of a bad look for Joy too. And so when I was talking to her, I said, you either got to make another video or you got to take that one down, because I said, it makes you look bad in a lot of areas. And so she said to me, she says, you want to do another video with me? I said, okay, I'll go ahead and do it.
One thing that wasn't mentioned in the video is he was talking about, like, okay, if my kids are gonna have to come out to Washington with me, then I am gonna collaborate with them, and if their boyfriends wanted to come visit, then I would do something about that, let them be able to stay there and save money on cost of traveling because there's that distance. So stuff like that he was saying that he would collaborate and like kind of compromise on, and I didn't like really touch on in the video. I kind of just said that he said that we could move with him to Washington if we wanted to do that, but I didn't say that part.
Well, and also, here's the other thing I said too, is, my classes that I take, we talk a lot about collaboration and working with one another. I mean, it's from a business standpoint. And the thing about collaboration is there's give and take, and there's sacrifices that's made. Now, typically, people always think that if you lose or you give up something, then somebody else gets more, and you're going to lose out. So people typically approach everything from a selfish standpoint. And talk to the girls about that a lot, and some of the stuff that we talk about it, in my classes, and I now apply it to everyday life also. And so, when basically a couple of weeks, 3 years ago is when I thought that, ultimately I would go to Washington. And I told the girls back then that I was still married. I was, and I wasn't divorced yet from my second marriage, not the girl's mom. And I told them back then, I says, you know what? I says, now that I've finally extensively traveled, in the northwestern part of the United States, and I've been to all the other parts of the United States, I think that, ultimately that's where I'm going to end up going to. And kind of a little bit of the history on this is I've been married twice. So and with my last divorce, I didn't want to cause any problems. I didn't want to try to fight over house, 401ks, anything like that. I just wanted to leave, amicably. So I'm in a situation now to where I'm renting, and I rent a house right now because I didn't plan on staying long term. And I told the girls that that they soon as my ex-wife, she didn't really want to go to Washington, but as soon as I got divorced, I told the girls, hey, I'm going to going up there. I mean, I'm getting a degree from University of Washington. I love the state. It's a cheaper cost of living. It's the quality of life, I think, is ultimately better. And I love California. I really love it a lot. But you pay a price for it. And with no state income tax and everything being a little bit cheaper and still having a good quality of life, I couldn't argue about it. I mean, I even told the girls last week, at a minimum, it's $30,000 a year in extra money, basically, that I would have up there. And it's probably closer to $50,000 if I moved to the area that I'm interested in. And so, at my age, like I said, I'm in good health, so I'm planning on working for a long time. But, still, I got to try to do something to build the equity, try to pay off a house. And what I told the girls, I says, all the money that I can save, earlier on it's more that gets passed down to you later on. But in conjunction with the collaboration, it's just, it's expensive to live in California. And I've told the girls that. I mean, it's just so hard to live out here and to support yourself. And it's hard when you're young too, just to support yourself, try to make ends meet. And so I told him, I says, if you make the sacrifice to move up there with me, then I'm gonna do what I can to help you. If you're schooling up there, I did ask him about sitting out a year, because when you switch states, you do have to be a resident for a year to get in-state tuition. So it'd be an extra $15,000 a year to any of the public universities up there, if you just pay out-of-state tuition. But in conjunction, like for the boyfriends too, before my youngest daughter asked me the day after about, say my boyfriend wanted to come up here, could you help him out? And I said, yeah. And I'd already thought about it, because I already know it would be tough to try to be on their own. But, I viewed it this way. If they had boyfriends that wanted to try to move out of California because they want to be closer to their girlfriends, that's a true sign of love. That's the true sign of caring for somebody, trying to make things work. And that's a good potential son-in-law in my books. And so I'd already thought, you know what? If they needed a place to stay temporarily to try to get on their feet up there, I'm more than willing to do it. And that's the fair thing to do. And so I thought that some of that got left out in the video of Joy, that, I didn't want to be just a jerk as a parent to say, I'm moving and you're subject to, whatever's left over. That's not right. That's not right as a parent. They want to try to make something of their life, their career. Yes, it's tough to live down here. That's why I told them, I says, hey, I need to move because I got to set up the rest of my life. At the same time, you're more than welcome to come with me, because I know how hard it would be for you to try to make it on your own. I guess I'll let Joy talk a little bit right now.
The reason why I was crying in that video, and the reason why my sister and I were really upset, is because we knew that he had this desire to move to Washington for a long time, but we kind of were under the impression that he would stay in California at least until I graduate. So it was like, hearing that news was a lot sooner than expected. So it was kind of like, oh, and when you hear something like that, like for me, my first thought is like, what do I gotta do to like survive on my own? What I gotta do? And so when you have all those thoughts rushing through your head, like in that short period of time, it causes a lot of anxiety and stress and panic and worry, because you're like, well, I don't know how that's possible without making your life only about work. I usually cry because I'm either passionate or really upset about something. And for me, some people, like my dad, would think that making a video like that is not the right thing to do. But for me, it's like, I find it therapeutic when I can cry and let my emotions out, and I get over it. I cry, build a bridge, and I walk over it, and I move on with my life. So
yeah, crying seems to be popular for videos, by the way.
He says that's my niche.
But yeah, it's that one of the things I said to her earlier, and believe me, I've made plenty of mistakes over the years. I talk about the mistakes. When I was younger, I had people used to tell me, they said, you talk too much, and you should talk a little bit less and listen a little bit more. One of the things I said to her, a lot of times it's tough, is when we're emotional about something or trying to sort through something, it's a lot of times we end up saying stuff that we wish we didn't say, or talk about things or express things in a certain way that we didn't want to get across. So I wanted Joy to make another video just so it's better, and just so it doesn't seem like the last one. And some people comment on the last one, they thought she was entitled, and the feedback I gave her is, I said, well, the last video, it does sound like you're entitled. And
that's because I couldn't put everything in a video.
Yeah. And so, but here's the challenge. The challenge of it is, it's hard. It's hard. Joy did have a tough time growing up. I tried to get custody of them when they were little, when their mom left, and I just didn't get custody of them. And so I got custody of them 7 years ago, but they did have a tough time growing up. They did move a lot. So the only time that they've ever had stability in their life for not having to move is since they've been out here in California. They lived in a house with me with my ex-wife, and
2012 to 2018.
Yeah, 2012 to 2018, they were in that house, and then last year, in the middle of the year, we moved here. So but before that, they practically had to move every year. And so being on food stamps, WIC, moving every year, it was tough for her. It was tough for her and it was hard. And they always had a father that loved them and tried to provide for them. But, for a day-to-day basis, there was a lot of uneasiness. And that's part of the emotions that she had in that last video. And, she kind of, I'll touch on this too because she kind of mentioned it to me earlier. She kind of gets a little bit uptight about things. And so, I'm trying to, I'm just trying to get the message across to her that, what, you can take it easy. You can take a pause. Don't pressure yourself. Don't panic. Don't think that you got to do everything now. So often in life, we have things that, they don't go like we want. And, it's a part of maturing the process. It's a part of being an adult. Even as adults, a lot of times we don't like change. Some people can deal with a lot of stress and a lot of chaos and a lot of change. Some people are kind of control freaks and they kind of have to have everything stay the same. And change brings uneasiness and there's questions. And so everybody's a little bit different. So I know in case of Joy, she's, she doesn't handle stress as well as I can. And so, me talking to her about that and giving her the news, that is going to stress her out a little bit. And because she does have goals, she does have desires. I just tried to reiterate to her that, there's a lot, I went to college for 2 years coming out of high school. And then I ended up having to put my education on hold for a while. And eventually later on, I got my bachelor's degree. And, I wanted to get a master's degree a long time ago. So I ended up having to wait 20 years to get a master's degree. Retired Air Force and with marriages and things like that and the moving around and the jobs that I've had, I couldn't do anything to complete my education. So way back in the 80s, I wanted to get a master's degree, but I'm not going to end up having a master's degree until 2020, 30-something years later. And I don't have any regrets. I ended up waiting a long time. I'm getting the degree from the place that I wanted to get a degree from, but it's a long journey. Yeah, it's a long journey. And even now, Joy talked about working and going to college. It's rough. It's rough. I work about 65 hours a week, and I'm trying to go to college, and it's hard. And so I understand the pain that she's talking about working and going to college. Even my first 2 years of college, it was 40 hours a week, full-time job, and going to college. So it's rough when you have to do it that way. But a lot of people end up having to do that. It's a privilege if you don't have to do it, but a lot of people have a lot tougher road to go on that.
I think a lot of people got this, and he kind of said that that's the vibe that he got too, if you're looking at it from an outsider perspective without his knowledge about me and my life, is a lot of people, some people, I shouldn't say a lot, just some people were seeing it as me complaining about working and not wanting to work or work full time. And to further explain where I was coming from, he said, I don't handle stress very well. You can ask anybody that knows me. They know that I'm always stressed. Sometimes it's self-inflicted. Sometimes things just overwhelm me a lot. And so I do work part-time. I go to school full-time. It's manageable, but it is stressful at times. My sister, who's younger than me, she recently was a manager and she was working full-time, going to school full-time. And I saw how much of a negative impact that had on her and her social life and just her life in general. And my sister is someone that usually always handles stress better than I, and she was to the point where she was throwing up because she was so sick and drained of that. And I've talked to other people who are in way worse situations than me, and they're yeah, it's almost impossible to work full-time and go to school full-time and do everything else. And so that was a concern that I was having, because knowing that my sister can't handle that, I looked at it at that time, I was yeah, if she can't handle it, I can't handle it. So I was I can't work full-time when I'm going to full-time college, because school is something that I have to work really hard at sometimes. And because I have to put extra time in that, when I have to spend more time working, then it's going to obviously cut into other areas of my life. And so I was really upset about that, because when I was looking okay, me, I can't already I feel would you say I stress out more than the average person?
Yes.
So knowing that about myself, I was I don't know if I'm really capable of successfully working full time and going to school full time. One or the other has to give, and usually that results in sleep and social life. And so college was the first time that I really had a social life. In high school, I was really busy with school, and that's partially my fault, but I didn't really have a social life growing up, and so college was the first time I had a social life, and so that's part of the reason why I'm so like obsessed with trying to like obtain that, because I feel like I've missed out so much on life that now that I have it, I don't want it to go before I'm an adult and I have my own kids, and those are just some of my concerns, and I don't want to go too much in that because that's another video, but
I'm concerned about both of their educations, and I want the best for them. Personally, I think the better option for me is they should just go with me. And the analogy I gave them yesterday is, in life a lot of times, if the wind pushes us in one direction, we try to push back against the wind. But instead, all we really need to do is, if the wind pushes us off our path, all we do is we just work our way back to get to where we originally wanted to be at. And we take a lot of divergent paths a lot of times, and you can still get to the end result of what you want. Life doesn't end tomorrow. I know it's the older you get, the more you realize, how long life really can be, even though it goes by fast. But when you're young, everything is like the end of the world. And so, but that's not true. It really isn't true that it's the end of the world. If you don't do something today and you can't do it till tomorrow, that's okay. The biggest thing in life probably is you just keep working. If you keep working at whatever it is that you're trying to do, eventually you're going to get done with it. Eventually you're going to accomplish it. You may not accomplish it as fast as you want to, but in due time you'll accomplish what your goal is.
Some people talking about me being privileged and stuff, white privilege, white people problems, and I think that part of that comes from like some individuals who watch my channel are like your age or older, so obviously they've been through life, they've had more struggle and challenges than someone who's my age, who's 20. So I know that the way I come off in the video, because I can't explain everything, is going to come off as like privileged and entitled to an older crowd specifically, because even like at 20, the things that I was like complaining about and like my problems as a 16 are like trivial, and I feel like the older you get, the problems you had when you're younger are always gonna look trivial and like not as important. And so I know that that's part of the thing that comes into play, and I know that there's people that have worse conditions in life, but I want like, the thing that I feel like bothered me a lot about that comment is that I felt like I was being invalidated. Like, whatever struggle I went through in life or whatever I was feeling in that moment, and that's something I didn't appreciate. I wasn't rude in my response, but I feel like I could have been a little bit nicer. So,
and I think, I just think that it shouldn't have been a comment about white privilege. Ethnicity, race, color, what have you, shouldn't come into play on it. Part of probably what drives the dynamic is, it is a general vibe and thought that goes on in the world today. I mean, people say that about millennials, 20-somethings, 30-somethings, what have you. A lot of people want to have the benefits of things without doing the work and putting in the groundwork for doing things and working hard and taking the tough jobs and doing the hard things. And one of the things I've tried to tell the girls is, because parents are the ones that earn the money and have the jobs and provide for the family, the kids, until they can provide for themselves and be on their own, they're subject to what the parents do. And so it's you do have to approach it from the parent first perspective, in that they're the ones that's earning the money, they're the ones that are making the way, they're the ones that's going to help with cars, insurance, and so that's one of the things I told Joy too, is like, I'm giving you a place to stay. I'm not charging rent. You're driving a truck around that I own. I'm paying your insurance and cell phone, and so almost all your expenses are paid by me.
You're gonna make me look more entitled.
So my point to her on that was, it's like, but I told her, I says, I'm the parent. I'm the one that's in charge here. But Joy's a good girl. I don't want to try to make her look bad, but that's, that was my concern too, when she was, when she started talking about working and wanting to enjoy college and stuff like that. It is a privilege. it definitely is a privilege, but she was coming from her perspective definitely that because she was restricted a lot in high school, she was restricted a lot, before she came to live in California, and she couldn't really enjoy a lot of stuff. And now that she has more freedom to do more things, she didn't want to lose out on freedom. And I understand her perspective on that. That it's the first time she's been able to be free, and then she thought that she wasn't going to be free anymore if she had to work all the time down here.
Someone called me selfish, but I even mentioned this in the video. Like, I wasn't going to stop you from moving to Washington. There's nothing I can do to stop him from moving to Washington. Like, he will go to move to Washington. Like, there's something, I would never try to stop him. So the whole video was kind of me, like, saying, like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I have a choice to stay or go. So, like, that was not, I don't know why someone called me selfish. I just always disliked when people, like, see me as, like, one race more than the other. Because in reality, I'm 50-50. And it took a long time to reach this point in my life where I appreciate being biracial and appreciate being 100% white and 100% Korean. And I have had people use the Asian side of me as to justify their arguments and see me as only Asian. And this was the first time anyone in my life that I can remember has pulled that card of me being half white and having privileges based on that. And I thought when I read that question, that comment, I was like, when people look at me, they always ask me if I'm Hispanic or Asian. Never have I had someone say, you look full white. Like, I don't look full white, and I know that. Obviously, I look mixed, but I was just like, how do I benefit from white privilege when I don't even look white in the first place? And, yeah, that was pretty upsetting because there's a lot of struggles that I've had being Asian, being made fun of, this and that. And there's just certain struggles that obviously since you're someone on the internet, you don't know what I've been through. And so it's not cool to like assume or invalidate people and what they've been through based on where they're at in life or what you perceive them to be, whether that's racially or income wise, because even him, he's had to work hard for what he's had. So it's not like what you see me living now is not what my life has always been. Right. What you see him living now hasn't always been what his life has been. So it's kind of like, yeah, there's people that are privileged in life. There's people that don't have to work hard for things. And yeah, it sucks. I mean, I was kind of complaining about that in my video. But I don't know. That kind of bothers me because it's like, hey, you got this for free. You didn't do anything. When, yeah, some of the things, like he pays for things.
Yeah, I mean, she has gotten it for free, but the thing that I've always taught her though, and instilled in her is the hard work, and you do work for the things that you want to try to accomplish and do. And one of the things I've told them too a lot of times is, when people are just handed stuff and they don't actually invest in it themselves, a lot of times they don't value it, they don't do as well, and so. I'm a big believer that you should always share the effort with the children and the kids, and you don't give them everything. Of course, you do want to provide for them. You want to have good things for them, but at the same time, they have to work for some also for themselves. I mean, even like on Joy's college, even though she doesn't have to pay tuition, I've been letting her, pay the fees and books and stuff like that so that she can pay part of it too, so she can contribute to it, so that at the end of the day that she knows I had a part in this. I didn't just get it for free. I mean, I had to do stuff to, further my education, even though, the vast majority of the cost isn't paid for by her.
Like, that's just stuff that, like, I feel like since he already takes care of me in a lot of areas that I should take care of, and so I don't ask him to like cover that. I never did. Like, I just picked it up myself. And even with him building equity in a house and like inheritance and stuff, I've never really thought about like Nana or you or anybody in my life really. I never think of it as me inheriting something. I just never think of me ever getting inheritance. And so when he's talking about this and someone brought it up about saving that for me in the future, that's something that I never think of. Like, I don't know how to explain it. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. It's not something that I don't think like, oh, when you're gone, I'm going to get this. Like, right. I've never thought that. Like, inheritance. Maybe because I don't think you're gonna die anytime soon.
Well, I don't think I will die anytime soon. And you know what though? And I'll say this too. It's that's a good thought process that she does have. I know a lot of people, they're always thinking about what they can get without having to work for it. And sometimes we are given things, but always looking to get something without working for it, it's pretty much a failed proposition. I mean, you're far better off just saying, okay, you know what, I'm working for this. I'm going to try to accomplish goals. This is my mission. And when you put in the hard work and the effort and you try and you do things professionally, you're going to benefit from it. And you're going to feel good because you know you earned it. You know you did it on your own. And so, yeah, you know, I don't even worry about that. I don't even think about that as like, oh, you know, what can I get without having to work for it?
I wouldn't even be mad if I was left with nothing, because I've never thought like, okay, the people before me when they leave, like, what are they gonna leave for me? Like, I never thought about that, because I just always thought that like whatever money I made in life, that's how I was gonna survive. And when we were talking about this with my sister asked like, oh, can, like, if we stayed out here by ourselves, could you pay like our cell phone bill or something? And when she said that, I never thought of asking that, because I feel like if I'm not living in the same house as you, then I should be paying my own bills.
And here's what I told the girls also.
Wait, before you say that, that's why I was so worried, because it's like I don't expect him to like contribute to me if I'm living on my own, because I'm not living at home. And so that's why I was so worried about like taking care of myself, because I know that it'd be really hard to do that and without me expecting him to do anything.
And what I told them was that, you know, you kind of have to play it by ear, and I would do what I could to help them out. You know, obviously, you know, I'd be willing to let them live with me in Washington, but at the same time, I told them that I'll do what I could to help you out if you're down here. And it's always harder to maintain two households. That's why people always say it's cheaper to keep her. And they talk about not getting divorced and, you know, having two separate households. You know, it is more to maintain those two. Like, explain an analogy to somebody the other day. It's like, okay, they're only going to be in college for a certain amount of time, so many years. I can do what I can do to help them out, to sacrifice while they're in college, because I'm still going to save the extra money each year after they're out of college. I do think as parents, you know, it's important that we don't take the it's my way, the highway approach. Our kids do have feelings, they do have thoughts, they do have desires. So I do think that, yes, even though kids are subject to what we do because we earn an income, I also think it's important too that we do collaborate with them, that we do work with them, that we do help them, you know, try to achieve their goals and desires, and just, you know, that's what God calls us to do. And He calls us to be good parents, to love and care and nurture them, and they are supposed to obey us, but too often as parents we blow that out of the water, we ignore it, and we invalidate the feelings and thoughts of our kids. So that's one thing I always wanted to try to get across to the girls, that you know, yes, I am the boss, but at the same time, you do have a voice, you do have thoughts, you do have comments, and God put me here to be your parent, to nurture you, to take care of you, and so I have a responsibility also to do everything I can to put you in a position of success. As I told her too, I said your video was like the first 37 chapters of Job. So when I was talking to her yesterday, I says, my talk, when I'm talking to you right now, that's like 38 to 42. But my point was, you know, we do have to trust in God, and He cares for us. And yes, a lot of times He don't answer when we want him to, but He answers in His time, and He answers never too late. And so I told Joy, I says, I don't know when I'm going to be leaving. I don't know when the circumstances are or what it's going to be, but I know that God's going to open the door and the path for me to leave at the right time. And if she has her trust in God, then He's going to make a way for her to do things in His time and in His will. And His will is not always what we want.
I think someone made a comment, like towards the end, I was talking about YouTube, and I know you said something about YouTube too. The video started off me ranting about the Washington thing, but it slowly turned into everything that I don't like about my life at the moment. So that's why I included YouTube and work in my major. And so the thing on YouTube I want to clarify is, this is obviously a hobby of mine because it's free and because I'm too broke to do things in life right now, and the only other thing I do is go to work. I make YouTube videos in all my spare time, and he can testify to that.
Yeah, she does.
I'm always like, I gotta make a YouTube video. I'm writing a YouTube script. I'm doing this and that.
Sometimes she don't even go to eat because she wants to edit a YouTube video.
For me, obviously, it's unrealistic to make this a career unless it happens. So I know someone was talking about this in the comment section when I was saying about the whole like other people are growing faster than me. I was just saying that from the standpoint of it is kind of disappointing when you put content out there and you work hard on it and people watch it, but sometimes like those same people that watch it don't subscribe, so you're kind of like left questioning like what can I do to improve that. And so that's kind of the place where I was at, is that I have similar content to some other channels, and sometimes it seems like everyone else is like doing better than you are even though you're working hard. So that's where I was kind of coming off of. I wasn't saying that, oh, like I'm gonna rely on this as a career to help me survive when he leaves. Like, that's not gonna happen for a long time if it ever does.
Oh, I won't make any comments on YouTube.
Why?
I'll keep the comments.
What
Well, no. I'm not gonna repeat the stuff that I said.
What did you say?
What did I say about YouTube?
Yeah.
I said if you want more subscribers, you gotta make better videos. That's what I told you.
Better in content or quality?
But you know what though? I got to take this back though. When I sat down last night with Joy, and because at first it seemed like a lot of the videos was just about what was going on in her life, but when I looked at the list of all the different videos, she actually does have quite a few videos that are trying to be helpful of others, and so I do have to take back what I'd said on that, because I said, hey, you need to have something that people can use and really help them out. And that was that's one of the things that kind of drove me to being on the video today with Joy. Was I says, you can't just have a video where you're upset. You got to have a video that has solutions and options, collaboration, improvement, different things like that. So that's why I wanted to come on camera today to say, hey, these are real life situations, and they're tough and they're hard, and you have to work through it as a parent. You have to work through it as a kid. It's not fun to deal with. As a parent, you don't want to see your kids not accomplish their goals and their desires and dreams and the timelines that they want to. As a kid also, you don't want to have to be on the other end too, to where somebody throws a curveball and now you don't know what to do. So, it's tough on both ends, so it requires working. It requires working and sacrifice on both ends, but if you love one another, then you'll do it, and you'll come up with the best possible plan.
Also, I want to clarify this. I didn't make that video so like people, because I had some people like friends and stuff that were like, oh, if you need someplace to stay or live, if your dad moves, if you can't afford someplace, you can stay with me, or we can rent apartments, or like offering me jobs and stuff. And I really appreciate that. I'm really grateful for people like that. But I didn't make my video to like get that type of reaction. Like I wasn't making that for people to like help me in that way, or just help me in any way, because if he moves and I can't afford to live here, I will move with him, because I don't want to feel like a burden on anybody, if that makes sense. Is that Coyote?
Sounds like it.
So anyways, that's not why. My video was also not to drag his name under the dirt. Not to drag him under the dirt. And I know a lot of you guys didn't see it that way, because you, like, in the comment section, a lot of people sympathize with you, like,
right,
why you want to move. But in the video, I said, maybe you can, like, all I cared is that you listened, because I just wanted to rant. I just wanted someone to hear me rant and hear me out. And at the end, I said, if you pray, then pray for me. And that's about it. Listening and praying, if that's what you do, not anything else. And I guess sympathizing, but that's about it. It wasn't for money or any like house to live in or to trash him, just so you know.
Biggest thing is, and I don't know if Joy's ever talked about this in the video, but I'm going to say it now, it's just trusting in God. Pray, seek His guidance, get close to Him, seek His will. When you obey Him, you trust in Him, the Holy Spirit will guide you. The more you listen to the Holy Spirit's guidance, the more the more he'll talk to you and guide you and show you. I mean, I told the girls, I says, even in my job when I'm trying to dispatch drivers and make the plan for how I want to utilize everybody, I'll pray. I'll pray about stuff that I've done many, many times. Just trust that God's going to take care of you, and that He's got everything under control, and He loves you. And as long as you seek His perfect will for your life, He's going to open and close the doors when you need it. A lot of times it's not what you want. I've worked in logistics for 29 years now. I didn't plan on working in logistics. I was always interested in travel, transportation type things, maps, tourism. I was always interested in that, but when I joined the Air Force, I didn't plan on doing that. In fact, I got my third choice job of the three choices they gave me. I'm glad that's what I get. Glad that's what I did. So I'm not complaining. That wasn't my plan, but that's what I ended up on, and I'm happy with that. And I think that's the biggest thing is, as long as we're in God's will, we can be content with where we're at, even if it's being content in God's will is far better than trying to do what we want to do and then not be in God's will, and then we still won't be content.
I'll end on this. If you do YouTube, you have to use discernment in what you publish, because a good chunk of being a YouTuber is broadcasting your life and sometimes your problems and the things you go through. And obviously, if you broadcast your life, sometimes you do end up talking about the rough things that go in your life, because you can't leave that out. That's hard to, if something changes, like if I'm living in Washington one day, you might be like, why are you in Washington? What happened to California? So I will make mistakes sometimes, but it is a challenge when you weigh, okay, I want to be real and vulnerable and honest, but I also want to keep some of my life private. And so, yeah, I have to weigh that sometimes, and that's why not everything is mentioned, some things only. Yeah. So there is a third part to this, explaining more in a separate video. So thank you to my dad for being on camera today. So we'll end it there. Okay. You want to say bye?
Bye. I enjoyed it.
Bye.